reason for the delay, and thank you again for your patience. So good afternoon. My name is Damian Williams, and I'm the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. Today, we announce that Brian Benjamin, the Lieutenant Governor of the state of New York, has been indicted for bribery and related offenses. Mr. Benjamin surrendered to law enforcement this morning and will be presented this afternoon before Magistrate Judge Wang. This is a simple story of corruption. We allege that Benjamin struck a corrupt bargain with a real estate developer referred to in the indictment as CC1. Benjamin allegedly directed a $50,000 state grant to a nonprofit organization controlled by CC1. And in exchange, Benjamin received tens of thousands of dollars of campaign contributions from CC1. Those contributions were directed both to Benjamin's State Senate Campaign Committee and to Benjamin's New York City Comptroller campaign. Taxpayer money for campaign contributions. Quid pro quo. This for that. That's bribery, plain and simple. But that's not all. We also allege that Benjamin repeatedly lied to cover up the bribery scheme, including by falsifying campaign forms and misleading city regulators. And we allege that Benjamin repeatedly lied on the vetting forms that he filled out before he was appointed lieutenant governor. That's a cover-up. Now, public corruption erodes people's confidence and faith in government. But the Southern District of New York will never give up on trying to root it out. Because our obligation, our only obligation, is to uphold the rule of law. Now, the charges that I'm announcing today reflect the hard work not only of the women and men in my office, but also the hard work of our partners in law enforcement at the FBI and the New York City Department of Investigation. And to my left is Michael Driscoll, the Assistant Director in charge of the FBI's New York Field Office, and Jocelyn Strauber, the Commissioner of the New York City Department of Investigation. And I want to thank them and their teams for their dedication and professionalism in seeing this investigation through. I also want to acknowledge and thank the career prosecutors in my office who are handling this matter: David Abramowitz, Tara Lamort, Allison Moe, Jared Schaefer, and their supervisors, Rebecca Donaleski and Tom McKay, the chiefs of the Public Corruption Unit. I now want to invite up our good friend from the FBI, Michael Driscoll.
Thank you, Damian. And I want to thank everyone for being here today. I did want to start by just making some brief comments about the events in Brooklyn this morning. The FBI's and NYPD's Joint Terrorism Task Force is made up of over 50 agencies, and we are fully engaged on this investigation. It's still very much in its early stages, but our focus right now and our thoughts and prayers are with the victims. We're following every viable lead, and we will continue to do so with the NYPD and our other city partners. I expect evidence collection for this event will take some time, but we're grateful for the residents and the witnesses who've already stepped forward to help, and I look forward to more assistance as we proceed. If you do have information to provide relevant to the attack, please reach out to the NYPD tip line at 1-800-577-TIPS. And it's vitally important at this time, but we don't inadvertently disclose information that could inform the subjects. So I will defer any specific questions regarding the events to the press conference that the Commissioner held just a few minutes ago. And I don't expect to be able to answer any real specific questions about the events at this time. Regarding today's indictment, in early 2019, Brian Benjamin began planning his campaign for New York City Comptroller, while also running for re-election for New York State Senate. In order to procure funding for this campaign, as alleged, Benjamin asked an individual, identified as CC1, as Damian noted, to procure several small donor donations. In exchange for these donations, Benjamin used his official position as New York State Senator to allocate discretionary funding to an organization controlled by CC1. Again, that is your quid pro quo. Throughout the course of this scheme, Benjamin remained aware of at least some of the fundraising efforts, and accepting numerous small donations on its own is not illegal. But it is, however, illegal to exploit one's official authority by allocating state funds as part of a bribe to procure these donations, and to engage in activity to then cover up that bribe. As alleged, Benjamin's conduct directly circumvents those procedures put in place to keep our system fair. And for those reasons, he's facing federal charges today. This remains very much an ongoing investigation. And I do want to thank the support from the U.S. Attorney's Office, specifically Damian Williams and his team, the Chief of the Public Corruption Unit, Rebecca Donalowski, and Tom McKay, Assistant United States Attorneys David Abramowitz, Tara Lamort, Allison Moe, and Jared Schaefer. The Department of Investigations Commissioner, Jocelyn, thank you for being here today, and thank you for your support throughout this investigation. And I do want to highlight the work of FBI's Public Corruption Task Force. Their focus, their efforts, their concentration is ensuring that systems like this remain safe. And this is the perfect example of their work. So I am very proud of the work they've done and very grateful that they continue to do it. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you, Michael. I'm Jocelyn Strauber, the Commissioner of the New York City Department of Investigation. DOI worked alongside the dedicated prosecutors of the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York and the investigators of the Federal Bureau of Investigation on this significant investigation. In fact, this investigation reflects the power of partnership between law enforcement and our shared commitment to follow the facts without fear or favor wherever they lead. As today's allegations underscore, public funds that support grants cannot be used as currency to boost a candidate's fundraising, and candidates must provide accurate information regarding their contributions and how they are made. Honesty on these issues is not negotiable. The charges also illustrate the importance of compliance with city campaign fundraising rules and candor with the New York City Campaign Finance Board, which enforces those rules. That board is vital to maintaining integrity and transparency in campaign fundraising. The lies and deception alleged here frustrate its work and deprive New Yorkers of accurate information with respect to political contributions. I thank U.S. Attorney Damian Williams, FBI Assistant Director in charge of the New York office, Michael Driscoll, and their outstanding teams for partnering with us on this matter. And at DOI, I want to thank Senior Investigative Auditor Jeffrey Freeman and Senior Inspector General Andrew Sine for their work on this investigation. Thank you.
Happy to take some questions.
Was it just this one grant, or
Nick is going to call on people.
was it just this one grant? Because my understanding is that this had been allocated previously by the state senate to the same organization in years past.
So
Is that any bearing on the case?
the indictment specifies one grant. I'm not going to be able to get into any details beyond what's in the indictment, but our investigation is, of course, continuing. Next question.
Willie, the forfeiture in the indictment, would that cover funds, the matching funds as well, or just the money that was just the donations themselves?
So I don't want to get into the nature of the forfeiture that we will be seeking. I think it's best left for our future legal filings. But I think it is also fair to say that the indictment specifies that there is a $50,000 state grant that was not distributed ultimately. But beyond that, I'm not going to get into the details. Next question.
Sure. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about how you first came to be suspicious of this fundraiser. There was some public reporting, was that it? Was it another tip? How did you first come to become suspicious?
Well, I can't speak to how and when we started our investigation, but I can say you reference a public reporting. I know the city had an article on January 4th of 2021. That was not the basis of our opening the investigation, but of course that article is noted in the indictment. Next question.
Was anybody else involved from the Harlem office throughout Roger State Senate?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Anybody else from the Harlem office involved Roger State Senator that you know of?
So I'm not going to be able to speak to other people who may or may not be involved in the scheme. The indictment does speak about the lieutenant governor, of course, and CC1, but beyond that, I can't get into details of who else was involved in the scheme. Next question.
Frank Smith from the Senate. So your investigation was ongoing when the city reported on some of these dubious donations. But my read of the indictment is that Benjamin continued to interact with that developer and solicit more donations from him after the public report. What do you want to say about the brazenness, the chutzpah, or whatever?
Well, I think it is our I don't want to characterize the indictment. I think it is a serious offense, of course, that we've laid out. Any public corruption offense that we bring is a serious offense. I'm not the first U.S. attorney to announce public corruption offenses from this podium, and I'm certainly not going to be the last. But you read the indictment correctly. The city article came out on January 4th, and there are facts that continue to be laid out after that date. Next question.
Last question.
There was a vetting process that was in place for Governor Hochul's team to determine, whether Brian Benjamin was fit to be lieutenant governor. Did her campaign or her office in any way contact you or any of the other investigating offices about this ongoing investigation, given the timeline?
I can't speak to contact that we have or have not had with the governor's office. What I can speak to is what the indictment does set forth, which is evidence of repeated or allegations of repeated lies that the lieutenant governor told in connection with his seeking the office of lieutenant governor at the time. Okay.
Can you speak to any involvement that Senate Majority Leader Andrew Stewart Cousins has had in this scheme? Are you investigating her and is she being interviewed?
So many questions in there. I can say that this indictment is about one person, Brian Benjamin, and the actions that we allege that he took that amount to bribery and other offenses. I'm not going to get into anyone else who is identified in the indictment or not identified by name.
What, if anything, do you say about Mr. Benjamin's fitness to remain in office or potentially run for re-election alongside Governor Kathy Hochul? Just last week, she said that he has her full confidence.
I think you'd have to direct those questions to the governor. I heard earlier today that she intends to address the allegations, and so I would talk to her about that.
Any legal requirement for him to step aside and maintenance and
Our indictment levels serious charges against him, but any decision about whether he remains a candidate or not is up to him and other people. That's not for us to say.
So my read of the indictment is that $50,000 state grant never actually got delivered. Is that going to be an issue in the case here, that there's no flow or whatever, like the money never even got delivered?
Will it be an issue? No, it is not a legal impediment to this indictment. As we allege, the lieutenant governor, when he was a state senator, took official action in his capacity as a state senator. As a matter of law, we don't believe anything more is required.
This is the first case, and this is the last case. I know you won't just take the indictment, but what's your feeling about the fact that we've had this string of corruption, and what does this say about the state government?
Well, look, I think it is fair to say, as I said before, I'm not the first U.S. attorney for the Southern District to announce charges from the podium, and I won't be the last. But public corruption remains a problem in New York. It is a bipartisan problem. It's an ongoing problem. And so long as it remains a problem, the career folks here in this office will stick to it, and our law enforcement partners will stick to it. That's all I can say about it.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.